The New York Times obtaining a new document from federal investigators. This document details the trail of payments from Matt Gaetz, Trump's choice for attorney general, to numerous women, including some who testified that Gaetz was paying them for sex. It is a damning document. I waved it there. Let me just show you on your screen so you can see that. Gaetz' face at the top left, barely eligible because of the high number of women and payments, and you can see him paying many individuals there, and also a payment down to Joel Greenberg, the other man on the screen, who is currently serving time in prison for all of this. It shows tens of thousands of dollars in Venmo payments between Gaetz, friends, associates, and women, all of this related to sex parties. It includes the two women who testified that they were paid to have sex with the former congressman. Their attorney told me about these payments, and he revealed here out front for the first time just how much those two women alone were paid by Gaetz. These interactions continued for a couple of years. And when you look back at it, and he was paying them for these sexual encounters, how much did he pay them?
When my clients provided testimony to the House, they put up on the screen a list of the Venmo and PayPal transactions directly from Representative Gaetz to my clients. For one of the clients, it was a little over $6,000. For another client, it was a little over $4,000.
So a little over $10,000 to your clients from him directly.
That's correct.
That's just to those two women. As you can see, obviously, there are many more. Yet Republicans do not want this or other details related to the Gaetz probe to ever see the light of day. Some Republicans, I just want to be clear here, many of them do, but I'm specifically referring to the Republicans on the House Ethics Committee tonight handing President-elect Trump and his pick for Attorney General, Matt Gaetz, a victory. And I will say, at least for now, they voted for now to block the release of what is said to be this damaging report, because this is from it, which says, among other things, Gaetz was that the report was looking into sexual misconduct, including sex with a minor, as well as illicit drug use and other things. Now, this is a blow to a number of Republican senators. They wanted the report before they actually vote on Gaetz' nomination.
We should be able to get a hold of it, and we should have access to it one way or another, based on the way that we do all of these nominations.
I think there should not be any limitation on the Senate Judiciary Committee's investigation, including whatever the House Ethics Committee has generated.
But you want to see it?
Oh, I do, but more importantly, I want the Judiciary Committee to be able to see it prior to the hearings.
I think it would be helpful. Everybody's talking about it. It apparently was just about done.
Now, the House Ethics Committee is scheduled to meet again next month. Next month, of course, being December. So this would still be before the confirmation, and there could be another vote then. So we'll see. There are, though, Democrats on that committee who do not want to wait. Congressman Sean Casten is trying to force the entire House to vote on the report's release. Now, in the report, the attorney that you just heard from a moment ago says his client testified that she saw Gaetz having sex with a minor.
She was invited to a party in July of 2017. She testified to the House that as she was walking out to the pool area, she turned to her right and she witnessed her friend having sex with Representative Gaetz, and her friend at that time was 17.
Now, Leopard, who you just saw there, tells me that's just the tip of the iceberg, that his clients are just two out of over a dozen witnesses who testified, which is why so many Democrats and Republicans say it is vital that this report be released. Manu is out front live on Capitol Hill. Manu, is there any chance this report actually comes to a floor vote?
Well, we'll come to a floor vote here, Aaron, because Democrats are using a procedural move to force this vote. In fact, within 2 legislative days, that's when it would actually have to come to the floor. The House Republicans can essentially vote to kill this altogether. They can refer it to the committee, or they can vote on the merits. But it could also be punted until after the Thanksgiving holiday. But undoubtedly, this vote will happen. The question will be whether Democrats can get a majority of the United States House to vote to compel the release of this report. That would mean 218 votes. That means 3 Republicans would have to defect, assuming all members are present and voting. And I caught up with one Republican, Derek Van Orden, someone who has had a fraught relationship with Gaetz over the years. And I asked him if he would support the release of this report, and he indicated he would vote to release it. There might be a vote in the House to release that report. Would you vote to release that report?
I think it's very important that everybody has as much knowledge as possible so that they can make an informed decision.
It sounds like yes.
That's a yes. So if the rumors are true about Mr. Gates' conduct, then there should be referrals to other agencies. And if they're not true, then there's a whole lot of people that owe him an apology.
And Derek Van Orden is not the only Republican who wants to see the report. On the Senate side, there are lots of Republicans, particularly some who sit on the Senate Judiciary Committee, which will consider the nomination of Matt Gaetz, who want to see some of these reports. So the details in that House Ethics Committee report. And there are others on the House side who have had a fraught relationship with Gaetz over the years and believe that he should not be the Attorney General of the United States, which means that there's a likelihood here, Aaron, that either there'll be a vote to actually compel its release, or Republicans will somehow get the chance to access this report as they consider him on the Senate side through the confirmation process there. But as you can hear from that one congressman there, Aaron, not everybody on the same page on this issue, showing how controversial this Gaetz pick is, and also the steep climb he faces ahead of Senate confirmation.
All right, Manu, thank you very much on Capitol Hill tonight. And I do want to go now to the Republican Senator Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma. And Senator, I really appreciate your time and thank you for coming on with me. I want to just start with the breaking news about this diagram that was obtained by the New York Times. I'm holding it up here. It's honestly, it's hard to see because there's so many names on it, but it's payments. Matt Gaetz' picture is on it. Joel Greenberg, who's serving time, is on it with these payments. This was prepared by federal investigators. It's basically just a web of thousands of dollars of Venmo payments between Gaetz and a group of associates, friends, women he allegedly had drug-fueled sex parties with over a 3-year time span. Look, I'm not happy to be talking with you about drug-fueled sex parties, but here we are. I mean, Senator, if true, this is obviously a lot of payments to multiple women.
Well, that definitely looks that way, and this is why I think when the Senate is going through this confirmation process, that we have to have oversight, and I think a lot of this information needs to be brought forth. We'll allow Matt to talk about it if that's what he chooses to do. But this is Article 2, Section 2, where we advise and consent the President of the United States on his nominations. And so I think everybody in the Senate, we take oversight very important, which is why I think it's very important that this information makes its way over to the Senate, even if it makes its way in a private setting to where you have to go to the SCIF to receive it. I'm okay with that. But I think every senator should have the right to look at it before we cast our vote. Right, to look at the report as opposed to some sort of a process where you have to take ages to recreate it yourself. I know some had thrown that out there, but interesting that you think basically, if I'm getting this right, Senator, you're saying you want to see it, you need to see it. You're okay with it being public, but you're also okay with it being in a classified room where senators such as yourself would be the only ones who would be able to see it as you make a decision on Gaetz. Yeah, and I think it's up to the House on how we negotiate getting the report. If the House doesn't want to make it public, I'm perfectly okay with that. But I do think it's important for our oversight ability as we're choosing these, or as we're confirming these nominees, that we have access to it. So the Times, the New York Times with the diagram, right? It does back up claims by Joel Leppert. He is Senator, the lawyer for 2 of the women who testified they were paid multiple times by Matt Gaetz to have sex with him over a several-year period, and one of whom, or both of them, I guess, witnessed him having sex with a then 17-year-old. I've talked to him a couple times, Senator. Last night he was talking specifically about the payments to those 2 particular young women. Here's what he said.
When my clients provided testimony to the House, they put up on the screen a list of the Venmo and PayPal transactions directly from Representative Gaetz to my clients. For one of the clients, it was a little over $6,000. For another client, it was a little over $4,000. So a little over $10,000 to your clients from him directly. That's correct.
Now, he then continued, Senator, to say he thinks his 2 clients were just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the House Ethics Committee report. And obviously now we're seeing that diagram from the New York Times. I guess, to ask you the question this way, Senator, if this is what's out there, are these things disqualifying for someone who would be the Attorney General of the U.S., the highest law enforcement officer in the country?
I think it'd be very very damning, and I hate to play the what if game because I want to see it first.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any way he could get confirmed if this is accurate. And I will tell you, I will say Matt, when he's been confronted about this, has denied it over and over and over again. And I know that this probably came up when President Trump was visiting with him, and President Trump made the decision to put him forth, believing what Matt Gaetz said. If it turns out that Matt Gaetz was lying, you're going to see a lot of opinions change on this. But he has a right to go through a hearing. He has a right to explain it, and maybe he's got a good explanation for it. I don't know. I know this. I trust President Trump and the decisions he made with the information he had. That I'm going to keep an open mind moving forward with the process. But it is extremely concerning. It was already a hard push to get Matt confirmed to begin with. This will make things very difficult if it comes out that it's actually true.